दोस्तों इस वॉइस क्लिप में आप सुनिए मेजर विवेक जैकब को, जो कि सुधीर वालिया सर के बारे में क्या बताते हैं।
was their spirit like, what was their heart like, तो ये सारी चीजें, how did they lead, sir, what was the love they felt for each other, what is the, sir, कई हमारे बंदे सर, कई लोगों ने अपने कबर्ड में सर, हमारे जो ऑफिसर्स खत्म हो गए थे, भगवान के साथ साथ उनके फोटो लगा रखे थे सर। They used to pray to them. हाँ सर, सुधीर सर and Kevin and all the people used to pray to them, है ना सर। तो इतना वो था सर, तो imagine how they must have led them.
इस वीडियो में आप सुनेंगे हवलदार यशवीर सहरावत से, जो कि 9 पैरा एसएफ में ही थे और जिनके कमांडर थे मेजर सुधीर वालिया। तो उनके साथ जो अनुभव था उसके बारे में इन्होंने एक इंटरव्यू दिया है एक चैनल पे, और उसकी छोटी सी एक वॉइस क्लिपिंग मैं आपको सुनाता हूँ, सुनिए।
सर का डर खत्म हो चुका था लाइफ में, वो किसी चीज से डरते ही नहीं थे। हमने बहुत ऑपरेशन किए, एक बार एक कर लिया, दो कर लिया, 3 हो गए। वो बोलता नहीं अभी वापस नहीं जाएंगे, और भी 5 7 10 चाहिए हमको, इतना छोटा ऑपरेशन में। मतलब ये तो हमारी ट्रेनिंग है एक्चुअल में। जो इंसर्जेंसी की लड़ाई है जो अपने अंदर देश के अंदर चलती है, चाहे वो JNK की हो, आसाम की हो, नागालैंड हो, मिजोरम हो, ये एज ए पैरा के लिए तो एक ट्रेनिंग है। हमेशा अगर हम ऑपरेशन में जा रहे कहीं पे, मैं अगर रात हो गया कुछ भी है, मैं खुद उसको देख रहा हूँ, या मैं HSMD यूज करके कुछ भी करता, तो वो पीछे आते तुरंत ही एक सेकंड के 10 सेकंड में 15 सेकंड में आकर स्कोर के पास पहुंच जाते। क्या हुआ कि सर कुछ नहीं, केस चेक करेगा। मन भरा अपने आप ही चेक करते हो, कुछ नहीं, चलो 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 मेरे पीछे हो जाओ तुम अभी। वो टीम खुद ही स्कोर बन के अपने आप ही लीड करना शुरू कर देते थे। मतलब उनको ना ये नहीं था और उनको एज पर ग्राउंड एक्सपीरियंस इतना ये हो गया था कि अभी ये होने वाला है, अभी नहीं होगा। कई बार ऐसा हुआ कि लोकल, उन्होंने देखा लोकल है, ये लोकल मिलिटेंट्स वगैरह वगैरह, उनको ऐसे ही धमका देते हैं, तो वो ऐसे ही डर के कांप जाते थे। तो उनका हाँ, जो उनका वो था सर, बहुत ही टफ था। मतलब माइंड में उनके वो निकल गया था, जिसको एक वो बोलते ना कि यानी ये भी हो सकता। उनको ये नहीं लगता था ये हो सकता, नहीं, जो करेंगे हम करेंगे, वो कोई आगे कुछ नहीं कर सकता।
इस वॉइस क्लिप में आप सुनेंगे मेजर अभय नारायण सप्रू, जिन्होंने 1 पैरा स्पेशल फोर्सेस में सर्विस की है। वो अपने अनुभवों के बारे में, जो मेजर सुधीर वालिया के साथ थे जब वो कश्मीर में तैनात थे, तो आइए सुनिए इस वॉइस क्लिप में।
Anybody who knows Sudhir will tell you that he didn't know fear. You see, all of us have a threshold for fear. And this man didn't know fear. The threshold levels were so high that perhaps he didn't understand that there could be serious consequences of taking huge risk. I once asked him, and I asked him because there's a place called, I think, Rednag or something up in Lolab Valley.
Okay.
We had some information, so I went with my troop. I climbed up, I sat there in ambush on the ridge line, thick forest. 24 hours I sat there, no movement, nothing. I came down in the evening, at about 5:36, when I came down the hill, I find Sudhir Walia with his troop sitting around there. So I said, Sudhir, waste of time, buddy. I've just cleaned up the ridge, no movement, nothing. You're wasting. He said, you go home, Baba. Go home, go home. We'll get out. He climbed up. He climbed, later he's telling me, he climbs up, 5:36, they're hitting the ridge line. And he sees a man in a firan or a blanket carrying that milk dolu. So he says, Salam alaikum. Sudhir would often wear firan going into combat. He says, Salam alaikum, walaikum salam. The rest of the troop is below. And then he sees the weapon and he shoots him point blank. And Sudhir has enough stories like this. And at some stage I asked him, I remember, God bless his soul, what a man. I asked him, because I realized that the difference between this man getting killed and I'm not getting killed. I'm making effort. Both of us are making effort. He gets the kills. Where do I slip up? I asked him, what is the problem? He says, and I said, you take too many risks, Sudhir. Tread careful, boy. You'll have a problem. Because his stories were, I followed him, I shot him from behind. And this is very close conversation distance that you're shooting someone. He says, you people think I take high risk. These are very calculated risks. He's a very calculated risk. I know how he will react. I know how much reaction time. This is a soldier who's on a different level. He says, I know how much reaction time he has. I know how he'll react. I know the chances of him getting a headshot. I am prepared to take a shot anywhere else in the body, not a fatal shot. So in that panic, if he fires, I'm unlucky. I'll probably get it in my arm, hand. I'm prepared to take that risk. But for him to get a headshot, I've taken those calculations. That was his explanation to me. That's the kind of man he was. Perhaps the bravest man I've met.
इस वॉइस क्लिप में आप सुनेंगे जनरल पीसी कटोच को, जिन्होंने स्पेशल फोर्स कमांड की है। वो क्या बता रहे हैं मेजर सुधीर वालिया के बारे में।
कुपवाड़ा के हफरूदा जंगल के अंदर इन्फॉर्मेशन आई कि बहुत से वहाँ पे टेररिस्ट गए हुए हैं और वहाँ पे एक हाइड आउट के अंदर 20 टेररिस्ट थे, जहाँ पे इन्होंने ऑपरेशन लीड किया और 9 टेररिस्ट मारे वहाँ पे, खुद बुरी तरह जख्मी हुए और वो डायरेक्ट करते रहे उस ऑपरेशन को जब तक कि ऑपरेशन पूरा नहीं हुआ। और ऑपरेशन होने के बाद ही उन्होंने अपने को इवैक्यूएट करने की इजाज़त दी।
इस वॉइस क्लिप में आप सुनेंगे जनरल वीपी मलिक, जो हमारे सेनाध्यक्ष थे, उन्होंने क्या बताया मेजर सुधीर वालिया के बारे में, तो वो आप सुनिए।
I remember when we went to Vietnam and we were going through the Cu Chi tunnel. That's a very famous place where the Vietnamese people fought the Americans there. And they have 3 stories of those tunnels. And just to tell the Vietnamese officers and soldiers that our chaps are very tough. So he said, look, I will go through every tunnel and everywhere. Now that is the kind of a soldier, daring soldier he was. About toward the end of the war, he came to me, he said that he wants to go and join the battalion. And you'd be surprised that he captured with his team, he captured Blue Spur, as you were mentioning just now. And he left the house only about 9 or 10 days earlier from my house. Without acclimatization, he went. And after that, when the war was over, I met him in Srinagar. And he came to me and I picked him off. I said, why did you go without acclimatization and led your troops at that height? You shouldn't have done it. You went against the order. So he just looked at me, smiled, and he said, sir, main to pahadi aadmi hu. You know, he was from Palampur, as you know. So then I just smiled. I said, okay, don't do these things in future. And look after yourself. Take care. Unfortunately, within a few days after that, we lost him. And I have very fond memories. As I said, he was like a member of our family. And it was a great loss, not only for his regiment, for the army, for the nation. And of course, as I have mentioned in the book, for us, me and my wife, it was a personal loss also.